This is Millsap Farm. This is the farm I own and operate. We've got 20 acres here. We have about 2 acres in vegetables, which includes about 10,000 square feet under cover like this. So we do year-round production. So here we are, first week of December, and we've got spinach, kale, chard, arugula, turnips, carrots, beets, you name it. If it's cool weather, we're growing it. What we don't do is tomatoes, peppers, eggplant, those kinds of things in the winter because those are summer crops. But we do extend the season. So you can see behind me I've got some peppers that are still kicking. But generally, by Christmas, we've wrapped up anything warm weather and we're going into the cold weather mode. The reason we grow all those vegetables, we realized a bunch of years ago that people eat year-round, so why wouldn't we produce year-round? So toward that end, we have several different ways we sell our vegetables, but community-supported agriculture is our biggest piece of that. And what that means is we have people who arrange in advance to get a share of our produce each week. And we do that in the summer and the winter. To me, the most profound movement right now is the move toward sourcing more of our food locally. And I think that has all sorts of different components. Obviously, one piece of that is the actual community piece, where we're more connected to our food. Another piece of that is that local food tends to be more nutritious because it's fresher. If you get something that's harvested yesterday, you get a much more nutritious product than you do if it's harvested 2 weeks ago and shipped from somewhere. So that's a big piece of it. So the real movement I see is that move toward local. Now, that does tend to include also organic practices, and it tends to lean on CSA and farmers markets. Community-supported agriculture is a great thing for local ag because of the reasons we talked about. We have a regular market. We have this connection to people. And to me, it's kind of the ultimate permutation of local agriculture because people physically go to their farm, spend time with their farmer on the farm. They have a much better understanding of what's really going on. When you hear people talk about organic farming, generally there's kind of two categories. One is the big picture of organic farming, and the smaller picture of that is certified organic. So we are organic in practice. That means that we do not use synthetic pesticides, herbicides, or fertilizers. We do focus on the health of soil, the health of the crops, using resistant varieties, things like that have strengths on their own that don't require heavy pesticide and chemical use. And so that's kind of organic in the big picture in a nutshell. Now, the label, certified organic, is a label that comes from a government standard that is enforced by a group of certifiers. And so certifiers are private companies, or they're some of universities, sometimes they're Department of Agricultures in different states. But they're people who come out and visit the farm. They go through a long checklist. It takes about a week of paperwork and preparation for that. And they come and check everything out and make sure that you are doing what you say you're doing. So certified organic definitely has a meaning. It's a significant label. We are not certified because I'm not that good at paperwork. And I don't want to do that. And that may be a cop-out. I think in the long term, we may go the certified route. It does mean something to people. But I also would say that for us, it's much more about the relationship and people actually spending time on our farm and seeing how we do things, talking with us about how we do things, and being comfortable with that. But at its base, what we know about organic farming statistically is there's fewer pesticide residues in your food. That's the bottom line for me as an organic farmer is I want to feed people stuff that I feel good, that it's the best product I can give them. Two, there's some evidence that it has higher nutritional value. This one's a hard one to nail down because how do you compare one carrot to another? Yeah, they were grown in different ways, but how were they treated after that? What varieties were they? So there's a lot of variables. It's very hard to pin down. But there is some evidence that, at least in certain systems, organic farming produces more nutrient-dense vegetables, meaning it's got more nutrients per volume of produce. So that's a good thing too. And then the bottom line, another piece of it for us, an important piece of this system is that it's healthier for the planet as a whole. So we're not putting chemicals on our fields that are going to wash into the streams and cause fish kills. We're not propagating the death of bees, for example, is a real problem right now. And there's not clear evidence exactly where that is, what's going on there. What is clear about the death of the bees is that pesticides are playing a role. So, now in organic, we do use pesticides, but they're organic pesticides. They're very quick to break down in the environment. They have very limited efficacy, so they just hit the species that we put them on, and they're usually gone within 2 hours. So it's not that it's just a black and white issue, but I do think that the organic movement is definitely on the healthier end of how do we produce food, how do we maintain health in the environment, and how do we maintain a healthier community too. You know, one of the other things that I think is a big deal from an organic farmer perspective is most of us feel very passionate that we want to be good neighbors. And, you know, agriculture right now has kind of a checkered reputation with the community, not just in our local community, but I think statewide and even wider than that, you know. We've got these giant hog farms that some people can't stand to live nearby. We've got chicken houses that can frankly be really offensive if you walk by them at the wrong time of day. And even out in the fields, you know, people are finding that the big farms spraying herbicides and pesticides, well, most of that's going on that farmer's crops, but obviously not all of it is. Some of it's getting in the air and traveling. And so I think the more we can do to be good neighbors, that also builds community. And you know, traditionally, the farmer has been one of the most trusted people in American culture. I mean, historically, teachers and farmers. Right now, I think that farmers are at a crossroads. And so moving in this sustainable and organic direction, I think is a way of us building confidence with our community as well.